Hola, movie lovers! Welcome to the Real Frame of Mind presents If You Ask Me. This is kind of a shorter podcast video that we do where we dissect, go into as much as we can, a specific movie. And today's movie is, if you can't see from behind me, I don't know if you can even see on that camera.
It's tough to see Interstellar on that.
Interstellar is our film of choice.
Yeah, you can see the case.
The case is here as well. So Interstellar, directed by Christopher Nolan, is our choice of film to talk about, go into the inner workings of the film. So I guess let's start with Christopher Nolan as a director and the direction overall. Or do you guys want to start about how you feel about the movie to get us started off?
You're the host. You pick, man.
All right, Damon, you tell me your thoughts about the movie and maybe
movie
try
in
to
general.
segue
Movie in general.
into to Nolan too.
Okay. I can do that, I guess. The first time I was drunk when I watched this, so I really liked it. The second time, which was a couple days ago or yesterday, I can't actually remember.
Blended together. He's
Yeah,
drunk again.
days are just like days are things.
Nolan movies are
Time
drunk movies.
is relative.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's a quote. He quoted it.
Yeah.
yeah, and I like the movie. I don't think it's great.
Finally, some
I know.
discussion.
I know,
Ouch.
I think it's a little, it's weird. There's a lot that I feel like could probably be left. It's a 2.5 hour, almost stretching.
2 hours and
stretching-
50, I think.
It's
Stretching pretty
249.
close to
249, so it's close to 3.
Close to 3.
You know, I was gonna say
I feel
249
like-
because I know for sure it was 249.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I do too, because I was like, I paused it at home and like, I'm at the, I've
Yeah.
got 49 minutes left of this movie.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like it probably could have got cut down closer to 2. I feel like there was, especially their first, like their trip to outer space. I feel like that was a drawn out sequence where it just kind of didn't need to be there, didn't hold any significance.
Which one?
When they were actually like leaving.
Oh yeah, when he's.
I mean,
when,
the humor joke was there, which is fine. But after
Yeah.
that, when they were like docking onto the space station and like events, like right after that, it
when
was just
Dr.
kind of
Brand
like
was doing like the big speech.
Yeah, and they were
go
just
quietly
kinda-
into the night.
it was just kind of like a little montage. It wasn't a good montage. It was kind of like
Fair.
a slow montage.
Well, but the docking sequence comes back to
Later,
play a
yeah,
role.
but it's not like
Absolutely.
that's the first time they do it. And like that's the first time they do it in the movie, but they do it a couple other times.
Right,
I mean,
for
they
sure.
come back from other planets and stuff. I just felt like that part could have been cut out because it was really drawn out.
Fair.
Which is I think a lot of the scenes in the movie were drawn out longer than they should have been. I do like a lot of aspects. I like the relationship he has with his kids when he's still on Earth. I thought they played off each other fantastically. I loved that part.
Yeah.
I felt like if that was the whole movie, I would have been really happy because there was like if they were doing like a post-apocalyptic like this dude's trying to survive and keep his kids alive kind of thing. I would have loved that. It would have been like The Road, but better.
Bigger.
Yeah, bigger and better. And so once they got into space, I was just kind of like, like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that just didn't hit me. Like,
Sure.
it doesn't hit me as hard as I know it does you.
Oh, yeah.
You love this.
Yeah.
But,
Fair enough.
yeah, I love the directing. I think it's a beautiful movie. There's a lot of really nice looking scenes. Like when I walked in here, it was the spinning. That was a great spot.
Yeah.
Where, like the camera was like spinning with
Intense.
it, and then it just like slowly starts to match up where it's almost not even spinning anymore. But you
Yeah.
can still see the background is spinning.
Right.
Fantastic. And the humor is good. The robots or the robot Tars is fantastic. I loved him.
Case was pretty funny sometimes.
Case is
He had
alright.
a couple points, yeah, but I like the character. I forget what his name is. The black guy, the only
Was
Oh,
it
Ram or
Ram?
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They called him Ram. It's
Yeah.
Short for something.
Romilly.
Yeah.
Yes, I love the fact that he was basically just like explaining everything they were doing
Right.
to Cooper, but also to the audience. Like
Right.
he was like there to just be the guy who explained stuff to us.
But I don't think it was like in a dumb.
No.
intentional
I
version.
love the fact that they had
right,
that character.
right,
like,
for
'cause
sure. It
you
was a
need in this
necessary.
kind of
Oh
movie.
yeah, it was a necessary character to have for sure. Cool. All right. Well, Scott went into the same question. Jump over to you.
Right after I put Damon's stuff on the coast.
My bad.
Anyways, I'm going to have to disagree with Damon. I think I mean, obviously, I do like the way that Nolan uses McConaughey and the kids. But I think for me, it's one of those feelings. This movie, to me, the best I can describe it, is one of those feelings. You're in a car, you know you're running late, and you have a certain amount of time to get somewhere, and it's that feeling that you have while you're in the car, and then stuck at a red light or something, where you cannot do anything about the time that it's going to take for that light to turn green, and you still have to get to a destination in a certain amount of time. It's a really weird gut feeling.
Yeah.
And to me, the fact that they get separated so early in the film, if you can call it early, I think
almost an hour in,
20 or 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was pushing like 45 minutes in when they.
So in that sense, I think that I enjoy that because every single time, they talk more about it's going to take X amount of years to get back or this amount of time to go back. It makes you feel even worse, and then they add the videos in there, and then they add all the other stuff. To me, it's a movie about a father and a daughter being apart and trying to find a way to be reunited, with everything else serving as sort of the B plot. All the dangerous stuff. Them trying to find a planet that could help. The human race survive. That to me was what the sort of the B plot is, and so I enjoyed it because it hits me on different emotional levels throughout the film. You start off feeling. I mean, I think it's the overall big question at the end: would you do what Cooper did and leave, or would you stay? And I mean, I like that in a movie where you have to go ahead and ask yourself questions afterwards.
Oh, for
and
sure.
You either have a definite answer or you don't. I have a definite answer, but I think that if you this is the feeling that I get when I watch this movie, and there's a few scenes I go back to, but just the way they Nolan lays waste to the planet as a whole, and all these great little I guess little nuggets of information that they're sort of feeding the audience as they go in a simple parent-teacher conference, or a baseball game where you realize what the
world has come to.
Exactly. And I thought the baseball scene was a little far-fetched because what would be the possibility of them watching the Yankees? Like, where are they even?
Yeah.
In the scheme of, like, are we in
California?
California?
They don't
or, like, are we in Nebraska?
Yeah,
why would
the
Yankees be playing in Nebraska? Nebraska doesn't even have a team. So, like, I don't know where it is. It would have, I guess in that light, it would have. The only thing I don't like about this movie, and actually something that you guys agreed on, was the on-the-nose character that always is putting it out for the audience. And usually I don't care about that because for as far as this movie goes, and like 2001: A Space Odyssey, I have no fucking idea what's going on anyways. So the more characters there are, help me. But in the end, it's something that I feel like I said, that's all of this B plot stuff. Like, I don't need to know. Like, the wormhole thing was cool where he's explaining it, he folds a piece of paper and then goes. But do we really need that? Because the next scene is them going through the wormhole. And if you can't figure that out, then, I mean, but I understand, okay? It's a fine line to walk when you're trying to put together such a huge idea onto the screen.
For sure.
And you're gonna have a mass amount of audience. I mean, this movie was, I don't know, $100 million to make and made almost 700.
Yeah.
So it's gonna reach a wide amount of people, and I think people are a little too critical about that kind of thing of the character that's telling the story. But in this case, I really didn't think when they were telling us this, I didn't think it was really needed. And sort of the deathbed scene of it all, where Michael Caine just, he sees the end of the tunnel and he just admits that he had fucking. I mean, to me, that just undermines the character of Murph, who's this brilliant person, a really smart person. I wish she could have figured that out for herself, but like I said, to me, I've listened to other reviewers and I've listened to their gripes, and to me, it seems like it's a lot of the times. What people would call nitpicking.
Yeah,
And that's basically what I have to put it. I have to put it as. So to answer your question, yes, I really enjoy this movie, and for me, it's one that's its stock keeps rising, and I feel like that as a whole, as all of these people who watch this movie and had lukewarm, reviews about it, or don't look at it as this great film. I feel like it's just going to keep rising stock, just like absolutely. 2001 did, or I mean, I hate to stay on Kubrick, but like if it was something like The Shining too.
Right, totally. Well, I mean, as you stated, Damon, I love this movie. I mean, this is a movie that when we were actually doing our top 50, when that was a thing, it made my top 50 list a year and a half out from its release, and that's very rare for me to like a movie like that so much. But I think it had a lot to do with the emotions of it. Did either of you guys see it in the theaters?
Yeah.
Okay. It was definitely way more of an experience. I could see it greatly different if I would have seen it not in the theater, because I mean, we'll get to this, but a lot of the complaints you guys have, the sound very, very loud, very in your face. But it is, I feel like it makes and helps you with the emotions that you're feeling throughout the whole movie, because there's so many different types of emotions that you're getting, because there is a lot of B plots in this movie. It's not just the one. I mean, there's more than just that. So I think that really helps that, I don't know, the theater, that's where it really comes in to connect for me personally. And I have to, I don't know, I disagree slightly. I mean, yeah, I guess it's hard to point a finger on which one would be the main plot point over humanity and finding humanity's succession as a planet, or the story of Murph and Cooper.
They kind of share.
It definitely share.
They kind of switch back and forth
because right. And if I look at it as a main plot of the Murph and Coop storyline, as like the overarching plot of the movie, I feel like it would be a little bit more disappointing, because the ending, with them and him coming back to see her,
so short.
It's very short.
No, it is, and I almost feel like, well, this is what the biggest downfall to this film for me is the ending and the route that they chose to go, and that sort of aspect of the story. Because I feel cheated at the end. I want him to live with regret the rest of his life for what he did.
Right.
That's my personal feeling, because she's saying every single thing that should happen in this movie goes wrong in the beginning. The ghost is telling him to stay. She figures out the code that says stay. It's just one word, stay. And he still chooses to go, and it ends up being a sham. So he ends up picking some random guy that he once knew over his own kid, and then it comes back to bite him in the ass. And I want him to, and this is kind of where interpretation is open, does he actually make it out of that hole, like that black hole, or not? And to me, I like to think that he doesn't, because that satisfies me more as a viewer of thinking, this guy should live with this for the rest of his life. That, to me, is more, I think it fits the tone of the movie a little bit more, because all he's doing is worrying about time.
For sure.
And you have that battle between Brand and Cooper about her decision is swayed because she's in love with one of the doctors, and she throws it right back in his face and just says, every decision you're making is based on you getting home to your kids. Right. So you have to be... And
that's where my idea of the main plot point is, the humanity, because that's what all the main characters are struggling with throughout the film. Even on, Dr. Bray, the male, her father, on his deathbed, he gives that information up because of the guilt of, screwing everybody on planet Earth. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what, no matter how much you find that to be the greater good, you know what I mean? Even on your deathbed, that's going to be something that...
But was he... I'm sorry.
No, that was it.
All right, I cut you off. My bad.
It's all good.
But what was it really him saying, hey, I screwed over all of planet Earth? Or was he just saying, Murph, I feel bad that I took your father away from you? That's what I got, because he says, I lied to you.
Right.
He doesn't say I lied to everybody. He was... And there was someone else in the room.
Right, and that's fair.
So he could have opened it up and said, I mean, granted, he's dying.
Right.
So,
and that's fair to assume, but I kind of just looked at it as, this is the person he's been closest to, we would assume, over the last 23 years, because his daughter's gone. So, he's projecting that at her, as in a sense that he's projecting it to everyone, because his daughter didn't know either about the whole scheme. You know what I mean? So, I wanted to go back to your Rom character gripe. I think it was necessary to give. I mean, because as much as this is a very complex and intellectual film, it's also a blockbuster film. It's a movie that came out in the summer. You know, and it's meant to try and grab those super fans of his that were on the Inception train,
and the Dark Knight,
and the Dark Knight train. And so, I mean, you're getting people in here that, I mean, and even with that character in the movie is still complex as hell. But at least to get people, because I don't know, I didn't know the fundamentals of a wormhole before this movie. You know what I mean?
You're jumping into like really complex physics in this movie, so you kind of almost need that character.
Yeah, to dumb it down
for the Emperor, who's like a basic engineer.
No, I get that, and that's why I said it's more of a nitpick. But when he tells you this is what a wormhole is, and then 30 seconds later
go through it.
You're freaking showing it. It just goes back to the age-old saying,
difference
show,
between,
don't tell.
From what he does to that piece of paper and what you actually see. Like, it's not... It's... Because for what happens in the movie is a lot more complex than, you travel from this point to this point through a shorter amount of...
But they even talk about it later in the film that it's a little bit... It's not as on the nose kind of thing. It's more of like general conversation of what just happened. And that to me is fine because you could wrap right around. If someone's still confused about that, I feel like they could pick it up later on.
Definitely.
Not even that far down.
Maybe.
Because they argue about it right after they get back on that off of that water planet.
Yeah.
And that's another thing where all of a sudden Brand's character just knows right away, oh, I was off, and then, I was off on the, whatever her math was of how long it was. And, that scene I feel like is okay. If I'm in that situation, and look, I'm not questioning Christopher Nolan, for Christ's sake. I'm just saying...
No, I feel you.
Brand's character coming back, she fucked up royally, okay?
Huge.
And she comes back, and all of a sudden, she's just gonna flat out say, with all the pride, without any pride, it's like, yeah, I messed up, and we've missed it by this long, and then the guy comes in and says, 23 years. It's like, to me, it's more weight if she's over there agonizing over the fact that she just messed up, and he comes in and says, look, it's been 23 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can just look, I mean, it's a great shot of him. Like, he looks so like an old man.
Yeah, like you could tell, like, just as
he's
the
like
actor,
balding around the side.
His demeanor is just like he's slunched over a little bit because it's been so long.
So like,
and I can agree with that totally, but I don't know. I would classify that as nitpicking stuff, but for sure. I mean, and I could totally see your side of that. But I don't think it changes anything about how I feel about the movie.
No, definitely. And I like I said, it's a nitpick if I had to. It's the ending that really gets me.
Well, and I completely agree. But then just real quick before we go on, I wanted to say, I mean, even him in the dimension, in the fifth dimension, the wormhole or the black hole, and the whole fundamentals of him being the ghost and that being a black hole made for him and Murph to communicate. I feel like that full circles around to the people that they refer to as they throughout the movie, the people who have the access to the fifth dimension, created this for them because they were so important of characters to have humanity move forward, to for Murph to do what she did to make finish his equation, and for Cooper to go out there and do what he had to do to tell her how to do it. You know what I mean? Get them full circle stuff. But all right, let's move on to something. Unless you have something to say, you look confused. All right, let's touch on writing aspects of the film. I think Christopher Nolan and his brother did the writing on this film.
Indeed.
What is how do you feel about the writing for the film, Damon?
That's fine.
Yeah.
It was. I don't have anything to really comment about it. I mean,
what do you think? I mean,
good.
We're talking about really. I mean, dialogue, but we're talking about a lot of complex scenarios. I mean, and that's kind of diving in what we were just talking about. Sure. But still, like, I mean, I guess, was there any problems in there for you with? I mean, how complex it was?
No, because I mean, they do have the character who dumbs it down, and I mean,
Right.
with the visuals, it's really easy to kind of gather what's happening, and they talk it all out. I mean, the dialogue really helps with understanding what's going on in the
Right.
movie.
And that's
So
yeah. Well, because just reading I mean, I think it's sitting at a 71% on Rotten Tomato right now. And reading all the reviews on it is that's the one thing that really threw everybody off, is that they felt that they tried too hard. They went. I remember a review saying above and beyond when all they had to do was go above.
Dude, it's a Titanic effect.
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
You guys are probably sick of fucking hearing it, but it's seriously like at what point did one of the only films to sweep the Oscars, major Oscar awards, and one of the highest grossing films ever, when the hell did that become a poorly written movie?
Yeah, totally.
It's because these people just want something to bitch about and complain about.
I know.
There's nothing wrong with this writing. The story has some hiccups in it, okay? But again, like I said, when I was listening to these people's reviews, it's a freaking nitpick.
Yeah.
And it's a nitpick of mine, and I only think it happens a couple times. The ending bugs me.
Sure.
Yeah.
And just because of the way, I mean, it's the way that the movie made me feel about Cooper and Murph's relationship. So is that so much a bad story or a bad writing? I don't think so. It made me feel emotionally about the movie.
It did it right. So
my one complaint, I guess, would be, I thought, and I don't know if it's necessarily about the writing. I guess it would be because they wrote it. The whole Matt Damon character and his part in the movie, I hated it. I felt like they added him to be a villain for the sake of being a villain.
I don't even know if he's a villain.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And
that's
I think
the thing. Like, I mean,
think
he doesn't start out as the villain, but then and it takes a weird turn because at the same time that Michael Caine kind of turns a little bit. Like he does that little like I've been deceiving you all this entire time. He does a little for wrestling fans heel turn, and at the same time Matt Damon does almost at the same time does a little heel turn. You find out that he's been deceiving them too. Like it's just like this.
And I think that
I don't know if that was necessary.
I think it was perfectly necessary because it goes back to what I see as the overarching theme of the movie as the humanity of it. And him, at first saying, giving the whole speech of, well, yeah, I knew this whole time. And I mean, you would do the same thing as I would have done the same thing as Dr. Brand did with sending you guys out here to start over. But then he goes back on that and does it for himself. I mean, as much as he says he's going to take the ship off to go to the other colony, I can only assume that the character has nefarious reasons behind it because he called them there just to save him anyways.
Well, I can agree with both of you in a way. Okay, thinking about it now, I think the whole him escaping on a ship and ended up blowing up or whatever, I think it was a little melodramatic. Okay,
for sure.
But do they even need to get him off of that planet? No, because it would be almost great dramatic irony if he fucking dies on that planet.
Agreed.
But I think, like you said, it ties into what humans are going to do with... Actually, it's something that Matt Damon says about the one thing evolution of humans could not get rid of is their affection for people that they love. Yeah. And to me, what you guys were saying, and I'm pointing to you mainly, Damon, because he didn't have an issue with it, the Matt Damon part, is you guys didn't mind the on-the-nose people telling, dumbing down the story. He's basically what he's saying is dumbing it down for you, saying, well, this is the other aspect of what they're going through. Cooper wants to get back to his kids. Mm-hmm. Brand wants to get to the person she loves. And he wants to get the hell back. He wants to get the hell off that planet.
Yeah, well, for sure.
And it's all needs that they want to do, and they're going to go to great lengths to do it.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's what happens. I don't know if killing the guy was going to do it, but I mean, we can only assume that him not setting a wake time in his hibernation, that this dude was pretty desperate to get
and then you think about it, it was I mean, who knows, even the gravitational pull on that planet could have sped up time too, but not to the degree of the water planet, but still he was there to our knowledge, 10 years. So like,
Right. And he went
yeah.
through great lengths to fabricate the results of his tests or whatnot and his
Yeah.
expeditions and everything. So I mean, I think it's a nice twist.
Yeah.
And he's there when they find out that that Michael Caine's character is outed on lying,
Right.
and he just basically tells it like it is. Like, no, he made a great sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, there you have it.
Yeah.
I guess in a way, like, it does go overboard a little bit, but I guess it's adding information and it's pushing the plot forward. And I didn't really have that big of a deal. You know, I didn't have that
Right.
huge of an issue. But I will say, when they leave the planet, I think that gets a little bit.
Yeah. I just, when I watch it, and especially this last time, I see it as a survival movie. Like, there's obviously other aspects, the father-daughter, son. I don't know why he chooses the daughter over the son. It just kind of
something to focus
feels
on.
like, come on.
Well, it's the way...
It could have been his children in general, but it's like all focused on Murph.
I know, well, it's the way he is.
I
Like,
feel bad for Tom.
I mean, he's forced to be a farmer, you know?
Yeah.
I know he doesn't want that, and...
Yeah, and he has more in common with his daughter and everything. It just kind of feels like they left Tom out in the woods a little
Kind
bit.
of, yeah.
Back to what I was originally saying.
Yeah.
We can go on with that for
yeah,
20
But
minutes.
like,
Or
I feel like everything leads to this being a survival movie about like humanity, about the people involved. Like, everyone wants to survive.
Yeah.
And I feel like in that aspect, you don't need the character. I mean, Matt Damon falls right into that as well. Like, he wants to survive. He wants to get off that planet and survive. But I feel like you don't need him to show that people want to survive. Like, it's just like another, like, it's just a villain in my aspect, a villain.
Sure.
Just the behavior that he exudes after they get there. I mean, he basically kills Romilly. He kills, he tries to kill
Cooper.
I almost said Christian Bale, and I was like, it's wrong. Matthew
Get the hell
McConaughey.
out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just mixing up Nolan movies now. And it's just, I feel like it was too much. Like, you could have had, because they were already at that point when they got to that planet where they could either go home or go to the next planet.
Right.
Like, you didn't need that character on that planet to kind of like try and stop them. Like, it felt a little too much.
I think
or
it
not
was,
try and stop them, but like get in their way.
Go ahead.
I think it was necessary just because, I mean, otherwise it would have undermined the whole love aspect of Anne Hathaway's character, because she pleaded for them to go to her planet with her, husband or whatever he was to her. But it was just not feasible. So they went to Dr. Mann's planet, and it turned south completely. You know what I mean? So
it's irony, man.
And because at the end of the movie, her planet was the right planet to choose, as much as as far as we know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's great. It kind of turns the table on Cooper from the scene where she fucked up with the water planet. He fucks up with that planet.
Or even him leaving Murph in the beginning.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes all the way back to that. But that to me is just, that's strong writing. Tying it all together in a way.
I completely agree. And that's why I, just real quick, think the writing was fantastic in this movie, because there were so many elements that they wanted to do. And I think, despite the small amount of nitpicks that overall we all like the movie, and the small amount of nitpicks, there's so much there's just so much going on that I'm just astonished at how they actually pulled it off. I would have never been able to do something like that. But moving on, real quick, I want to get your guys' opinion on sound design and or score. I know that's a nagging problem with you, and you're not the only ones. A lot of people had problems with that. I'll start with you, Scott. What are your opinions on that?
Well, I know Damon and I can both chime in on this, just to make it short, that we thought it was way too loud. Even sitting here, even in home, it's loud, and maybe that's what they went for. It didn't hit with me. I don't like it. And just to wrap it up quickly, I think Hans Zimmer's score is beautiful at times, and almost, I don't have a lack of a better term, damning at other times, because of those big, deep organs and everything.
Yeah.
The organs, like I said, put me in that situation where I'm at a red light and I have 2 minutes to get to somewhere that I need to, and it's just eating at me. In that sense, yeah, it's something great. But I would like to listen to a little bit of the softer side of that score. Mm-hmm. It's not a knock on it, because it really does put me in a place where I don't want to be.
took away a little bit from the movie for me, just because it was a lot of the time over dialogue, and maybe it wasn't important dialogue or anything, but it was just like,
Oh yeah, I agree.
you're slamming us with noise right now, and people are trying to talk, and I'm like, watching at home, like trying to like find a comming ground where I can hear the
captions on.
I did.
Yeah.
That was the only reason I knew what they were
he
saying.
Says fuck twice.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. The first one I couldn't hear.
Exactly.
And the second one I heard clearly.
Yeah, because he says it to Matt Damon.
Twice.
Yeah. Does it twice?
He says it inside the little hut.
Yeah.
And then he says it outside of the hut.
I know, yeah. I caught the one he said it outside the hut.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like I said to you guys beforehand, this is the first movie I've had to have a remote in my hand the entire time to adjust volume.
That's fair.
Throughout.
I just want to touch base on the sound because I'm on the opposite spectrum as you guys. I really thought it helped drive the emotions felt home for me. And I just thought, like, yeah, it gets loud at times, but like I said, my first two, I saw this 3 times in the theaters.
Holy shit. So, Royce bracket on us.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how many times I saw Captain America.
Yeah, but like, it was just obviously first time seeing the movie. I was just like, whoa, my mind's blown. I can't stop thinking about everything that they just gave us.
Right.
But I stuck true to the sound, all of that emotion given to me through Hans Zimmer's score and the choices made with the sound, and the volumes of the sound. And I just thought it really helped. Like I said, the emotions drive for me. Plus, it helped make the movie. There's a lot of dialogue too, so it helped at times make dialogue, between characters that is just, without audio, not as tense. You know what I mean? Or without music and an underlying score, not as tense. So I thought it helped with the overall time of the movie too, and helped me make it feel to me that it wasn't like a 3-hour movie. It flew for me. But that's just my opinion. We are getting close on time. So any other topics you guys want to talk about? I know there's some other stuff that we brushed over, like actors. I thought everybody
sound
did great.
acting.
Yeah, everybody did great.
And
acting
is the only one that I can be like, that was kind of a weak point.
Yeah.
And there was that. I mean, she made up for it in the one monologue she gave about
the love. Yeah. Oh, that was
great.
It
was fantastic. But the rest of the movie, I think she just kind of coasted.
Jessica Chastain and Matthew McConaughey.
The younger Murph, I'm blanking on
McConaughey just he was killing it the entire movie.
That scene
when he catches up on the that was so emotional.
You can just watch him cry, and you're just like, oh, Matthew, come on, dude, come on, Cooper. I think something's in my eye.
Yeah, one of the best things that has come from this movie is the fact that the memes. They did a viral video with that and the Star Wars Force Awakens trailer, and I'm just rolling the entire time. I'm like, he's like when he starts crying, and it's just like the Star Wars theme comes on. I'm like, oh my god, it's so good.
All right, so anything else that you guys want to talk
grades?
About? Letter grades. All right, Damon, I'm gonna start with you.
I'm giving it a solid B-.
B-. All right, fair enough. Scott,
I upped it a little bit.
I'm going to say B+ with room to grow. B+.
Yeah, and that's my big thing with this movie is that I really think over time a lot of people are going to appreciate this movie a lot more. It's going to grow on people. I mean, this is today I watched it for probably the 4th or 5th time overall, and it just keeps getting better and better for me. And those little nagging problems that we all had with the movie for me are moving off and continuing on. So I'm going to give this movie an A. And potentially room to grow. I mean, this is a movie that really stuck with me right off the bat. It's one of the first movies I've seen in theaters where I was like actively going and researching afterwards, like the theories of fifth dimensions, and it's really interesting stuff. So yeah, that's the score. That pretty much wraps it up for this episode of
If You Ask Me Now.
If You Ask Me Now. So stay tuned. Please subscribe to
If You Ask Me.
If You Ask Me, yeah. Did you stop it?
If you ask me now. Did I say if you ask me now?
Yeah, you did.
Wow, I'm an idiot.
Okay.
If you ask me, ...
Is it still going though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, please subscribe if you would like. Share our videos, and just watch our other content. We will have plenty more to come. So thank you for watching.
Facebook,
listening.
Twitter, yada yada.
Facebook, Real Frame of Mind, Facebook.com/The Real Frame of Mind. That's REEL Frame of Mind.
Word.
Titans, do it.